Hello, let's talk about envelope to pitch. So this is how you make kick drums. So we're gonna, if you're in your rack, you take any envelope, the positive voltage out, and you give it to pitch. I just have a regular bass here, just a triangle wave. If we take it to pitch in, all right, so we get laser beams. So this is dependent on sustain being low and decay being pretty fast. Okay. Let's find that magic spot. There we go. Okay, so there. Now this depends a little bit on oscillator tuning too, right? So we've got our baby kick drum here. So think about, what's here and why isn't it working, right? So what we need to do is attenuate this a little bit. So, the straight up envelope to the oscillator makes great laser beams, but that's not really what we're looking for, right? And maybe we can find it if we play with the decay enough. But it's really sensitive on the Grandmother. Your results may vary, right? If you're using a maths to do this, you can use the exponential curve to help a little bit with this. For the Grandmother, what we can do is attenuate it. So I'm going to go from the envelope to the attenuator, and from the attenuator to the pitch of the oscillator. Now we have some control. And you're starting to hear some kick drum control. And this is basically how the DFAM works, right? Because we have an amount control, how much the envelope is controlling it, and we have a decay control. This is a more complicated envelope than the DFAM decay, but it's the same idea. So, in a nutshell, that's how you do it. And, the amount of attenuator is how much happens, so we can maybe experiment with longer decays. And the bigger the attenuator goes, the closer we get to laser beam land. All right? Let's go, maybe. We could even put some release in here. And this is how we get baby 808s, although an 808 is really a bandpass filter feeding back. But something to keep in mind. Right? All right, so hopefully this gives you some ideas. So sustain has to be down, because the drum only lasts a certain amount of time. Release and, fast attack, where you make your money is the release and the decay, and you're probably going to have some kind of attenuation if you're working in your rack. So now let's look at the software versions of this. Okay, let's look at the software now. So the beautiful thing about wavetable synthesizers is that the sky's sort of the limit in terms of your imagination for these types of sounds. Let's start with basics. So we're going to choose analog bass drum sine wave, because we've already kind of got that. And we're going to make our envelope look like what we did on the Grandmother. So we're going to turn the sustain down. And we're going to have that fast attack and decay. Okay, so then in Serum, you just have to assign this to pitch. So we're going to drag it to our coarse pitch. And we've already got a pretty good motion here. We want to maybe adjust this. So for all intents and purposes, like on the Grandmother, we had the attenuator. If you put your mouse over the little headphone looking thing, we've already got it. And then it's just decay. So we're already there. And then release. Right? So lots of options here. Same thing, this does have a wavetable position. So you can get lots of sounds out of this. And you're not limited to this oscillator. You could take any crazy sound you want. Let's take a crazy sound I bought. Alright, so a little ugly, but maybe we'll take envelope and assign it to wavetable position. And maybe we'll filter it a little. And we're going to take a little bit of a steeper filter. Right? And let's see if we can make this work. There's steeper curve, and take the decay down. A little dry. Okay, and maybe that pitch is just too much. There we go. Right. Okay, so you see, just experiment with this. Lots of different percussion work this way, right? Toms, pretty much anything. So it's not just for bass drum, it's for kind of everything. Let's look at Omnisphere. Okay, now we're in Omnisphere, so let me see if I remember how this works. So first of all, let's get something that's a little more appropriate to bass drum, like a triangle or a sine. And then we've got to make our amplifier work the way we want, more like drum. Then we've got our modulation filter here, and let's see, we'll go under the hood by clicking the magnifying glass. Right, okay, that looks like it's gonna work. Oh, I guess we don't need to go here. Let's go to modulation. Source. Mod envelope 1. See, I did remember this eventually. Oscillator. Pitch. Let's go pitch coarse. Yeah. There it is. And all we have to do is kind of turn this down. And obviously we have an amount there, so we control how big this blue line is from the amount over here. And we're already there. So yeah, in Omnisphere there's a lot more sort of under the hood. And still, like we looked at in Serum, there's tons of things to try here. So don't be afraid to, see what other sounds can sound like. DFAM, we use, you have a choice between triangle and a square wave. So try all the different square waves and see what happens. You'll get, gnarlier kick drums from that. But the basics of this is envelope to pitch. And that's how you get all these different drum sounds. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next video.